don't know.
Yes, you are. There you go.
Awesome. Awesome.
She's there.
All right. Well,
It's
good
easier
morning,
than holding.
everybody. I'm JoAnn Mermis.
Morning.
Morning, JoAnn.
JoAnn.
Great to be here. I feel like I've already heard my talk, so we can all go home now, all right?
Yeah. But we have
So you all have some great ideas about worry and pray and all that, so I'm just going to add a few ideas of my own, I guess. So pray more, worry less. Yeah. Well, firstly, let's get the worry out of the way. I think we sort of did this morning with the icebreaker, and we talked about some ways to not worry. But really, what is worry? Well, it's slandering our life. Now, just think about that. Do you want to slander your life?
sometimes.
No, and even worse, I mean, when we worry, we're living in the past, or probably more in the future, in anxiety, fear. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And this creates disease of the body, mind, and soul. Seriously, it really does. It makes us sick. It's my theory that we get sick on our spiritual level first, and it manifests on the physical. And it also encourages us to secrete more of that fight or flight adrenaline from our adrenaline glands here, sitting on top of our kidneys. You know, Kundalini yoga teachers know about that. That can actually make you sick if you secrete too much of that. It can make you not sleep right. It can make you fat. Ooh. All right, so don't worry. Let's just don't worry. What do they say in Africa? Akuma Matata, is that it?
Yes.
Akuma Matata, yeah.
Yes.
I did have the pleasure of going to Africa a couple of times. Really, they really say it there too. All right, so now for the pray part. Well, why do we pray at all? Why do we pray? Well, because it's the way we evolve, it's the way we expand. And actually, believe it or not, we're praying all the time. Every second we are in prayer. Think about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and we're praying because we want more for us and others. The wanting is our heart's desire. So what's your heart's desire? Think about that one for a moment. And so I was drawn to science of the mind. I'm not a practitioner, but I've been here many years. And I was drawn to this philosophy, religion. I don't like to call it religion. It's a philosophy to me. Philosophy and a science. So why is it a science? Because it can be proved. Our prayers are answered. And I was drawn to the science of the mind because I did study in the foundation class and some other classes the way we pray in science of mind. So I know I'm preaching to the choir, science of mind people, but we're going to have a little review of how we pray in science of mind. All right, it's a five-part to the prayer, but actually it's a 7-part. Okay, so the first part is we state something we want to change or expand or have more of, or like better health, or maybe want to heal something or a better relationship, etc., etc. That's the first, well, the pre-part. Then there's the 5 parts. All right, so Science of Mind calls this prayer the prayer treatment. I love it, the prayer treatment. So it's not a begging. We're not begging for something. We're actually invoking the God that's within us when we pray in this way. So the first part is recognition, of course. And we did that this morning in all of our songs and everything else. That's why I said I think you've already heard my talk. So who and what is recognized? Well, the one source, the one creator, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's the one mind. There's only one mind. So we recognize that one mind. And I love this little quote by a mentor of mine, Yogi Bhajan, who brought Kundalini Yoga to the United States. He said, if you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all. All right, so it's all God. God is everywhere. And we recognize that in our recognition, the first part. So the second part is unification. We're being unified with the one. We're acknowledging that we're unified with the one. So we are a micro of the macro. I think that's already been said up here by Reverend Mary this morning, or someone said it. So we are in co-creation with Spirit. So this really is empowering us rather than having something outside of us. It's inside of us, which is really exciting to me, that I can co-create. I can be the CEO of everything that's happening in my life, and Spirit's going to back me up. Wow, that's pretty cool. And by the way, if you haven't been to a Kundalini class, those are the first two things that happen in a Kundalini class. And I don't care what Kundalini teacher you go to. We start every class with, and it's a 5 parts to that class too. We start every class with recognizing the one creator. The one creator. We say Om, O-N-G, Om instead of Om. And I'll tell you why. Om is a passive prayer, and Om means creator. So we're invoking the creator inside of us. That's exciting, I think. And then we also do the unification in a little sidebar there about Kundalini Yoga. All right, it goes right along with this philosophy, by the way. So then we're on to the third part of the prayer. Well, what's that? That's called realization. So this is really the meat of the prayer. This is what we're going to be changing in our life, or what we're wanting to happen. And it's stated in the present tense. So remember, it has to be in the present tense. And when I went to psychology school, I have a master's degree in spiritual psychology, we did what we called ideal scenes every week. And so to me, the realization is like an ideal scene. So you have to write it or say it in the present tense, like it's already happened or it is happening. No past tense. And you have to add feeling. This is very important. Ernest Holmes pointed this out. He said you've got to add feeling to. You've got to really believe it. In other words, so there's a belief, a faith. This is where belief and faith and feeling are very important. And then acceptance of what you're stating is very important. That's why sometimes prayer doesn't work, all right? For those reasons. We're not really committed, we're not really believing it, we're not really feeling it, and then we're not allowing it to happen. So think about that when you're praying. And then the fourth part of the prayer is the thanksgiving, an attitude of gratitude. So we just simply give thanks for the truth of the statements we've made in the realization. The fifth part is the release, of course. We release and we let go, just like the song says that we're going to sing at the end of the service. We release and we let go. We let Spirit do the work. And we release all that truth to the law and let Spirit figure out the details. And that's, again, where we might stumble and not have our prayers be answered. We've got to, again, believe and accept our truths. And by the way, just going back to my yoga, Kundalini Yoga is a practice to invoke the truth of who we are. That's why we say Set Nam in Kundalini. That means Set is truth, and it means your heart. It's your heart chakra. So it's your heart desire. So it's truth. Nam is your fifth chakra here. Speaking your truth. It's the connection between your ego, mind, and your heart. So we're always trying to invoke the truth of who we are, our authentic self. And that's what Science of the Mind teaches also. So that's the reason sometimes our prayers aren't answered, because we get bogged down with not really feeling it. The Hicks talked about that in The Secret or The Law of Attraction. They were the Law of Attraction authors. So it's a feeling that you've got to bring. You've got to really feel that it's already happened. It's already done. You've already been healed of the cancer, whatever. So also, you all know that I work with prisoners.
No.
Yeah. So I for 15 years have been going to high security prisons And I go there for me as much as, actually a lot for me, because I get to practice these truths. And what we teach them is just what Science of Mind teaches. Change your thinking, change your life. It's as simple as that. But we call our seminar that we give the prisoners freedom to choose. Well, what does that mean? That means that we have the freedom to choose our attitudes and our actions at any moment. And it's based on Viktor Frankl's work. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he survived the Nazi prison camps of World War II. And he said when he went into the camps, you know, they took everything away from me, but one thing they could never take from me was my attitude to choose.
Yes.
My attitude.
Right. Amen.
And
Yes.
so he says between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in this space, we have the freedom to choose our response. So take a breath and don't just knee-jerk and react, but really, you know, think what you're thinking and choose a better response. So that you're choosing, hopefully, a healthy response for your actions. And by doing that, we're staying in the present moment, too. That's, you know, we keep hearing that over and over, stay in the present moment. Oh, and by the way, George, you know that's my favorite song. I don't know if you, I think I've told you before, but imagining, you know, imagining visualization is a big part of the prayer and can be, you know, part of the realization part when you're stating what you want for your life. Also visualizing, imagining. It helps to write those things down too. Writing is very, very powerful. So just to say again, we can co-create with Spirit. I think that's exciting news, rather than praying to some God outside of myself, which is how I was taught to pray when I was a little girl. And then as I've studied and, you know, matured in my old age, I realized, well, that's not really the case. You know, it really comes from inside. It comes from inside. And, you know, prayer circles are powerful. The more people we pray for, the more powerful it is. But don't forget that you've got to be praying too. You can't let somebody else be praying for you if you're not praying right along with the person. You can buy, you know, I've got all my crystals this morning, the JoAnn crystals.
I love it.
I love them. But you know what? These crystals aren't going to do a darn thing for me if I don't do it first inside myself. So they're beautiful. I love them. I love wearing them. They remind me of, you know, the energy that's around us that we can tap into. But in the end, I know that I've got to do the work inside of me first. As Gandhi says, be the change you want in the world. One of my favorite mentors. So just to, like, I could give you an example of a simple prayer for this morning, if you wanted, that, you know, we would use the Science of Mind technology to do. And I like, again, Yogi Bhajan, one of my mentors, but he says it's our birthright to be healthy, happy, and holy. So if you just took that as step one in your prayer, or the pre-prayer treatment, and said, it's my intention to be healthy, happy, and holy. And Ernest Holmes talks about specific intentions too. Intentions are very powerful. So first make your intention or your statement of what you want to expand or change. So if I'm saying I want to be healthy, or my intention is to be healthy, happy, and holy, that really encompasses all life. That means health, happiness, and isn't that the purpose of life, to have a healthy, happy life? And a holy life means prosperity. I can't be really old unless I have financial prosperity. So we've done that. So then I would just recognize that there's only one God, one Spirit, God is everywhere. There's no place that Spirit God is not. And I am one, unification, I am one with that God, that one mind, Spirit. Me and God, God and me are one. That's a chant we do in yoga again, Kundalini Yoga. And in the third part, the realization, I am living a joyful, wonderful, ecstatic, just out of the box life. You know, and the more feeling you can put into the recognition part, this is where, you know, it gets juicy, the better. I am happily enjoying my family, my friends, my activities in life. I'm successful in my career and I love my work. And then the fourth part is gratitude. I'm deeply grateful for all the truths of these statements, and I release and let go these truths to the law and let Spirit do the work, and so it is. So, you know, that's a real simple prayer. So, just to remind you that, you know, we can hear about all these things, and we can go to psychics, and I love psychics, by the way, and I love giving readings. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
But what do we do with the information they give us is the question. What do you do when you find out, you know, your ancestor was so-and-so, or you know, this card says I'm going to have this and this a week, or whatever. What do you do with the information? Well, I'm inviting you to have a daily practice where you really can, if not this, the treatment, the prayer treatment of science of mind, find a practice for you that you do daily. And by the way, I missed the 7th step of that, which is meditation.
Yes.
So after we pray, meditate.
Yes.
And that's when we are silent and we listen to what God has to say to us. That's when we get the answers from inside of us. And the answers will come. So I'm inviting you to be present to the moment, have faith, which to me is focus. Faith and focus are kind of the same word. You're really zero focused in faith. Staying conscious. You know, it's been said that we're living about 90% of the time unconsciously. So trying to stay conscious all the time, staying in the moment, not thinking about what I'm going to wear tomorrow or what I'm going to do tomorrow, but being right here, right now. That's tough sometimes. We're only human. So catch yourself. You have a choice. Choose to be positive. It all begins with you. And recognize that you are one with the infinite, one with Spirit, one with God. You have the power to create your life. And I'm just going to give you a little example because EJ said to me this morning, "You got this."
Yeah.
And you know, I have a little story about that that's really heart-touching for me. But I'm not a golfer, and I've never watched so much golf as I watched last weekend. Did y'all watch the golf tournament? It was at Pebble Beach. It was gorgeous. I bet you did, because Art's a golfer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess who won? Gary Woodward. His name Woodward. And guess where he's from? He's from where I'm from. He's from Topeka, Kansas. And he went to Kansas University, and I'm a Jayhawk, and he's a Jayhawk, and I thought, oh, this is great. But let me tell you what's the heartwarming part about this. Okay, so I'm watching the news, and I find out that the week before, or the month before, he played golf with a Down syndrome person in Phoenix, Arizona. A little girl, I can't think of her name. And so her daddy takes her out and plays golf with her every weekend. And she always says to him, and he says to her, he says, "You got this." And she says, "I've got this." And so when she played golf with Gary, the winner, and by the way, he only won by a couple of strokes or lack of there.
Yeah.
So it was hard. He had that mantra. Oh, he started FaceTiming with her over these lists.
Oh.
And she would, and talking to her and texting her, and she would tell him, you got this, you got this. And that was his mantra the whole weekend. You got this. And some of the people, some of the spectators knew about his relationship with this little girl, and they were yelling at him in the crowd, you got this.
Oh.
And I mean, it gives me chills.
Yeah, it does.
It's just such a spirit. So what's your mantra? Who inspires you? And just think, what if he got up there to hit the ball and he thought, oh my God, that's a long shot. I'm never going to get it over the ocean, you know? I mean, these shots were crazy. I thought they were going over the water. I never realized how difficult that course probably is. But, you know, he didn't get up there and say that. No. He said, you got this.
Yeah.
So think about your self-talk. How are you treating yourself? And as I often close in my yoga sessions, be kind to yourself so you can be kind to others. Love yourself so you can love others. Forgive yourself so you can forgive others. And the fifth part of the final blessing in our Kundalini yoga class goes like this. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. So, thank you.
Oh, that was great.